President Obama comes here tomorrow. Let's play hardball. Good evening. I'm Chris Matthews in Washington. Let me start tonight with this. I got the Christmas Eve excitement brewing right here at Hardball because tomorrow night at is precisely this time, 7 o'clock Eastern, the President of the United States is going to join us here on Hardball. It's going to be a powerful night of serious questions, certainly from me, about the political dysfunction at the top of our government these days. Questions about executive management methods in light of the health care rollout. Questions about voter suppression efforts across the country. I'm also going to ask the President about war and peace questions, the moral issues involved with the use of drone strikes, how we can avert war with Iran. We've been hitting these issues on Hardball. I'm hopeful the President will be responsive to the current concerns that you and I certainly share, and I hope we have for this, and the hopes, of course, we have for this country for the next 3 years. Unfortunately, America is still being assaulted by the bizarre politics of Benghazi, birtherism, and bingo, crazed notions that this president should be removed from office, either because he's committed unclear crimes or because he is somehow an illegal alien who should never have been elected in the first place, someone who deserves not just to be thrown from office, but deported to East Africa or somewhere more distant. Yes, we've got a wild and woolly right wing out there that cares not a darn thing about facts, only about the need to strike a blow for, as I said, Benghazi, birtherism, or bingo. They're talking impeachment. Jonathan Capehart joins us. He's an opinion writer with the Washington Post and an MSNBC contributor. And Dana Milbank is a columnist with the Washington Post. Yesterday, the Republican-led House Judiciary Committee held a hearing called, you'll love this thing, the President's Constitutional Duty to Faithfully Execute the Laws. Well, as Dana Milbank, who's with us right now, pointed out in his column today in the Washington Post, this was an impeachment hearing. Time and again, the red hots on the far right blew the bugle for driving the president from office. Let's listen to them.
What can you do? I'm often asked this. You got to go up there and you just impeach him. Or you go up there, you just impeach the president. Or you go up there and you just cut funds off. You shut everything down.
If a president is ignoring entire categories of the law, whether it be immigration, marijuana, mandatory minimum, the ACA, what is the remedy for the legislative branch?
The next recourse is, I think, as Mr. Rosencrantz said, the word that we don't like to say in this committee, and I'm not about to utter here in this particular hearing.
We've also talked about the I word, impeachment, which, again, I don't think would get past the Senate in the current climate. Am I missing anything? Is there anything else we can do?
Well, there's the guy, Farenthold. By the way, is it howdy doody time around here with these people? I think I'm watching Buffalo Bob and the Peanut Gallery. I'm too old not to remember that stuff. But let me ask you this. That guy, Farenthold, let's not forget his provenance, where he comes from. He was the guy on this show not too long ago who said, I will not say the president was legitimately elected president. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't say I gave him 3 shots at that baby, and he wouldn't do it. So not only is he impeachable, according to the latest plans of these jokers, but he's also illegitimate. I don't know if you can impeach a guy that wasn't even there legitimately. It seems like a double down to me. Your thoughts?
Right, and he is on record now saying that the House would vote to impeach this president if they were allowed to have this vote. And he said, what else can we do? What's our remedy? Well, there really isn't one, so they can just have one of these show hearings. And it's an impeachment hearing, but you can picture John.
You mean they're stymied by a lack of facts?
Well, no, they were.
There's nothing we can do.
What do? You win an election. Well, they didn't do that last year. You try to cut off the power of the purse. Well, they lost the fight on the default and the budget showdown. You take them to court. That's not going to work. Well, they know they're not going to impeach him.
Okay, let's stop for a second. You're a little young. You're maybe remembered as a toddler. There was an impeachment hearing one time in this country. It was very solemn. It was held at night, the House Judiciary Committee under Peter Rodino. And Democrat and Republican alike very solemnly looked at the question of Richard Nixon's misbehavior. And they did very carefully. They had articles of impeachment. They had a long investigation by John Doerr ahead of time, who was Bobby Kennedy's top guy. And they really took it seriously. They weren't laughing. They weren't smiling. They weren't making stupid, snarky remarks. This clown show, this is what they're doing.
But Chris,
they don't have a case.
But Chris, to these folks who are part of this clown show, they take this very seriously.
They do?
Yes, they
this
do
isn't
take this
showing off.
No. Well, keep something in mind, though, Chris. That hearing that happened yesterday, that's the first sort of public iteration here in Washington in an official capacity of this impeachment talk. During the summer, in August, when they were all out on the hustings at their town hall meetings, this came up time and time again. Do
you think they're dropping the dime? They're trying to get the word out there and trying to get it in play, the word? You think this is systematic?
Well, I think the word is already out there. I mean, people started talking about this because they're still pushing the notion that the president is in the White House illegitimately, that his birth certificate is fraudulent, and therefore he should be impeached and gotten rid of. That was behind the scenes.
These are the people backing Ted Cruz, who was born in Canada to an American mother, just like the president was, no matter where he was born.
But
even though he was born in Honolulu, which is a simple fact. By the way, that's part of the United States, something a lot of these people don't know.
But the thing, though, the moment we should start to take the folks in this clown show really seriously is when you have serious people within the House, more serious people in the Senate.
Well, I've never heard anybody being serious about something unserious.
Well, no, but you don't see anyone any other Republican in the Senate. You don't see John McCain talking about or Lindsey Graham talking about impeachment, do you?
No, I mean, you do hear Tom Coburn talking about it, Jim Inhofe talking about it, and, well, Ted Cruz is, I guess that answers the question.
Well, they're playing to the patch back home, Oklahoma and Texas.
They're
are
playing
to that base.
They can rile up the base with this. I mean, the giveaway, of course, is they know the end result that they want, which is impeachment, but they have like a dozen different reasons for it. Was it Fast and Furious? Was it Benghazi? Is it the birth certificate? Is it Obamacare? They don't care. Any policy disagreement is being made.
There was a word named decency. Anyway, the impeachment battle cry isn't about policy, of course, or any intelligible standard of the law. It's about attacking the president's, let's face it, right to be president. Here's a bit of proof. Earlier this summer, the president's enemies threatened impeachment if the president did act to raise the debt limit if Congress didn't go along with him. Senator Tim Scott, Republican from South Carolina, said, quote, "This president is looking to usurp congressional oversight to find a way to get it done, to raise the debt limit, without us, the Congress. My position is that that's an impeachable act from my perspective." Well, then the far right threatened impeachment if the president did not act to raise the debt. Here's U.S. Congressman Louis Gohmert down in October.
Would you allow us to default on our debt?
All right, let's let him get on the elevator.
Nope.
Thank you.
That would be an impeachable offense by the president.
Well, that would be an impeachable offense if he didn't act. I mean, either way, raise the debt limit or not, the result's the same impeachment. These guys can teach it round or teach it flat.
Right. Damned if, look, the president is damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
But it's so ludicrous.
And it's not like this is an organized thing going on here. You think that Tim Scott and Gohmert got together and said, okay, you say this, and then I'll say that. They're all just...
How about this line? You say neither, I say neither, but let's call the whole thing off.
Well, they're not going to call the whole thing off.
I'll just call him off.
Right.
Well, what is it? I've never seen anything like this. What is it, Dana? You're good at satire. It's hard to beat this bunch.
You can't satirize this because it's a parody of itself. But the idea is it's a primal scream. They are very frustrated. This is the same, like third of the Republican electorate that blames President Obama for Hurricane Katrina's response. It's irrational. They need to give voice to it. The leadership said, please don't have an impeachment hearing. So they say, oh, let's have an impeachment hearing, but just say it's the I word.
Okay, what I really found of course, no talk about impeachment would be complete without bringing up that magic bingo word Benghazi, despite the fact that there's no evidence whatever of any sort of cover-up or crime committed by the president. Red Hats do salivate over the issue when it comes to impeachment. Here it comes again. Let's listen.
Jason Chaffetz of Utah is joining us right now. Among other things, he suggested that perhaps President Obama's handling of the Benghazi terror attack could be an impeachable offense.
I was simply asked, is that within the realm of possibilities? And I would say yes. I'm not willing to take that off the table. But
Barack Obama ought to be impeached. Not only trampling on our liberties, but what he did in Benghazi is it's a crime. Just a crime.
People may be starting to use the I word before too long.
Okay, the I word meaning impeachment.
Yeah.
Okay, help me out, guys. I'm open to any information. I said this about all conspiracy theories. Give me the facts. I'll look at them. I'm not against facts. Is it about the fact that that facility wasn't adequately protected? Fine, that's a problem of incompetence. Certainly not an impeachable crime. Was it a problem of not answering the phone when the phone rang at 3 o'clock in the morning or whenever it rang and they didn't really try to save the guy? Well, that would be impeachable if there's any evidence of that. I never heard any evidence at all. Or is it about the argument of what Susan Rice said on Meet the Press and whether she told the full truth or didn't know the full truth at the time she was talking? None of that seems to get to the president or even to the Secretary of State personally that I can think about unless somebody proves it.
And on that third point, they spent weeks hammering Susan Rice and the president over what she said on a Sunday show rather than focusing in on the real issue.
How would it be impeachable if somebody told his story the way they wanted to tell it politically? Let's be honest. They tell the story they wanted to tell it politically. That's impeachable? Well, this whole country would have begun in the first place if that was the case.
We're barking up the wrong tree asking for facts. The goal that's wanted is impeachment. It has nothing to do with the issues here. That's why 13 of the 25 Republicans on the Judiciary Committee have asked for some form of impeachment for whatever reason, and why maybe 24, 3 other lawmakers have asked for that same thing. The reasons are all over the lot.
Is this like recall? Is this like recalling Gray Davis in California or trying to recall Scott Walker? Because it doesn't have anything to do with incompetence, maybe, and it has to do with we just don't like the guy's policies?
Well, that's it. They don't like the guy's policies. They don't like the guy. That's the foundation of everything. They do not like the president. A lot of them hate the president. And anything to, as you always say, put an asterisk next to his presidency.
And they've suggested impeaching Eric Holder for implementing the president's policies. They've even talked of impeaching Harry Reid as if that were possible for enacting the president's policies in the Senate.
I mean, thank you, gentlemen. It's only fun because it's crazy. But we shouldn't laugh at crazy, but we do. Especially when it's political crazy by people who I think are performing SEALs. I think they're not racist. I think they're performing for the people they think are on the hard right. They'll guarantee the caboose of their political party stays on the train. Do you like that metaphor?
That's good. Okay. And it's good to keep the clown show visible.
The clown show is busy in the caboose. My favorite words. Anyway, thank you. Any word with an OO in it is funny. Anyway, Jonathan Capehart, Dana Milbank, a great satirist, great calm again.